Welcome to Split the Defense.
Split the Defense.
Leafs Postgame Edition. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004, serving the Kingston and surrounding areas. Alongside co-host Craig Pearce and producer Ted Evans, here's your host, Jordan Webster.
Jake Allen stands in his head. New Jersey keep their playoff hopes alive, barely. And 3 Hughes goals are the difference as the Leafs lose 6-3. We're back here on Split the Defense, Leafs post game. I'm Webby here with CP and producer Ted in the booth. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our YouTube, rate us 5 stars, and get her going in the comments for us. Take us away, CP. How do you feel about this one?
Not a great game. It's not much great to bring of it. I guess maybe TJ Brody having a decent game in a while. 2 assists, and I think like one of the only positive players.
I can get on board with that. I can fully get on board with that. I was going to bring up TJ Brody tonight too.
Other than that, though, man, like this was a game where like they just played exactly how New Jersey wanted to play. They definitely played it better. But when you're going to go like counterpunch for counterpunch, like it doesn't matter how many chances you get, like they're all like grade A opportunities. Like it's just like that's a contest I don't think that the Leafs win many times, just based like they always seem to get goalied or posted or
yeah, I think
something.
we can go ahead and give Jake Allen the first star on this one tonight.
Yeah, unreal. How many shots did he end with? Like
I think it was like I don't even know, late 40s.
Yeah,
I actually didn't get the final stat. It was a lot. It was 42 when they flashed the last graphic, and there was a few minutes left, and there was flurries of shots after that. What a crazy game! Minute and 4 seconds in this time. Slick hands from Bertuzzi. The move that I use every single time in Chell. First shot on net, and then right it goes in, and then the first shot on net goes in for the Leafs in the first period.
yeah.
We have Timmins walk a guy. We have Nyes making an amazing play. And then Allen has a season high 20 for the Leafs, season high 25 shots on goal to Jersey's 9, 39 shot attempts. And the Leafs end the period down 2-1.
Yeah.
Dominance aside, that style of play is not going to win you hockey games.
No. That seems like the style of play like from 5 years ago. I think that they've evolved from that, and New Jersey is probably the Leafs of 5 years ago. You know, like they thought that they were going to be much better than they actually are, and it's going to take time to build, and they really need defense. And yeah, the Leafs just fell into their hands. Really, it's kind of I just don't like any of it. It's not my style of game. It's if they played a little bit better, it's one of those that it could have been exciting. If like just a lot of shots were going in, but I don't know. That just felt like is it Edmondson missing? Is it Riley missing? Because like the entire defense just seemed like everyone was pinching at the wrong time. No one covering. Like I don't know where the third forward is, but just how many 2-on-1s and breakaways were there? And you leave it to either of the Hughes brothers. I mean, they're gonna bury them. You know.
Yeah, even Luke Hughes, big old defenseman.
Yeah,
still got a shot on him.
Yeah, he's quite the defenseman. I mean, he definitely has some room to grow in his own end, but he's going to be a great. He's kind of similar to Quinn Hughes when Quinn Hughes started. You know, makes pretty spectacular plays, but just like lacking in certain ways. And Quinn Hughes has evolved into a better defensive player. But yeah, definitely the whole Hughes brothers are just the families dominating the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Dominated the Leafs tonight, that's for sure. Think about it. The 3 Hughes goals legitimately were the difference maker tonight. So we need to talk about Joseph Woll. The first goal that goes in is a knuckle puck. The second goal that goes in is a 2-on-1. And there was more. And I mean, you can't stop them all, but you'd like some saves there, right?
I don't know. I think I'm not taking much from this, to be honest. Like it's not great. Like save percentage wise, it's awful. Like, sure, you want one of like, sure, if you take a save, but it's to me, it doesn't really matter. It's on the rest of the team. Like, you shouldn't be playing that way, you know. And when you put your goalie in that position, like, I don't know, yeah,
There were a few tonight, man, where it's like, ah, Joe Wool, he was so good before he got hurt. He's come back and he's just, yeah, he was dominant before, you know, like he would have saved a few of those and it would have kept them in the game a little more. I understand that they left him, that they hung him out to dry, but at the same time, like, you need some saves. Like, you need a couple of saves there. Like I say, the 2-on-1 I get. The knuckle puck would have been nice to have as well, but it's a knuckle puck. And I mean, like, there was definitely a couple of goals that I look back tonight on and I think, well, as soon as Samsonov's healthy, it's looking more and more like it's his job come playoff time.
I mean, I think so, but I think like I set this game aside, and I'm still at that conclusion. Um, like I hear everything that you're saying, but I still am gonna kind of stick with like the team was just awful, and like at that point, I stopped caring about really how the goalie is playing. Um, it's one of those, but I do hear like your points, and it's true. And Sammy has like been way better at cross crease plays where you know Wall is a little bit slower than what I remember going post to post on like the 2-on-1 tonight. Like there's quite a bit of net left there, but other than that though, like I feel like he's been playing like his same calm way, just not necessarily getting like the big saves. And
Yeah.
yeah,
He's just lacked that dominance, that, you know, that calmness that we thought was so great isn't so great when you're letting in 4 and 6 a night. I mean, his last few games, 2 against Boston were 4. He let in 6. I mean, I guess he did have a good night the other night, did he not?
yeah.
Maybe, but you know, you mix a good night into 3 shit nights, and that's not good goaltending. And he was really, really good, and I don't think he's not going to find it again. It's really scaring me because I thought Joe Wool was like a sure thing for the playoffs here, and I was really thinking that, you know, the Leafs are going to have a dominant goalie going into the playoffs finally, which would be nice. I mean, like, they've had good goaltending. They had Jack Campbell was doing well, although like he had struggled at the end of the year that one year. They've had Frederick Anderson in the playoffs, but I mean, like, he's not been great in the playoffs. But you know, I'm just saying but they really haven't had good goaltending, and I was thinking that, you know, Joe Wool was going to solve that, and it's not looking like that's going to be the way. We're going with shaky Samsonov and not fully healthy Joe Wool. And when I say maybe not fully healthy, maybe he feels fine physically, but he's just not up to speed, like you say. He's not getting across the crease at the same speed. He's just not doing what he needs to do to make those extra saves to steal a couple of goals back. And that's what he was doing earlier in the year, and that's why we thought he was so promising. Not just because he made the saves that everybody's supposed to make. Yeah, he made those saves too, but he was making a few that he wasn't supposed to each game as well. And that was where we really fell for Joe Wool, and that's just not the guy that he's been over the last few games that we've seen from him.
Yeah, I think there's like a couple things there where like even when you see like even the best goalies in the world, when they come back from an injury, it seems to be a lot harder than when a skater comes back, you know. And I think that's kind of what we're seeing, and I'm not writing them off forever, but it is kind of where the Leafs are fortunate to be in the position they are, and I think a lot of teams that are going to the playoffs are probably jealous of the Leafs goalie situation because there's quite a bit of depth there. You know, you don't have a ton of high-end talent. You know,
you sound like Brad Tree living in the defense.
No, but like, to be honest, how many teams are one injury away from their season just being over? And I think like the Leafs are in a situation where one injury isn't why they got here. So like, or isn't going to be the reason why they're like not going to be able to be the team they are. Like if Sammy's in net and Wall's in net, if Jones is in net, I think they all can provide like a winnable formula.
You just have to realize that when you say that, when you think like that you're just saying that like, well, their guys on the ice might be better than our guys on the ice, but our guys on the bench, way fucking better. Our guys up in the press box, way fucking better than their guys. It's like, well, that's not what matters at the end of the day.
But like there's a lot of teams that struggle, like Edmonton, I'd take all of the Leafs goalies over any of their goalies.
Oh yeah, that's true. It's a shit show over there.
Yeah, like there are teams that are way worse off than we are. And I'm actually kind of feeling okay in the goalie department as long as everyone's healthy. You know, like I feel confident with Sammy out there right now, and like maybe that
Yeah,
changes
me too.
because he is that kind of a goalie. But like I was so happy to hear that he wasn't seriously injured from like exiting the other game, because like that's the guy at the moment, and we're looking at currently our backup was in tonight, and I think like if you look at it in that way, Sammy's been definitely good enough to be a starter in the past 2 months. And Wool's been definitely like a reliable backup if we need him, if it comes to that.
Sure, it's just that we had such high hopes for him, and like I guess
Yeah.
that's I had such high expectations, and he's really disappointed in his last few starts. It's just not been
Yeah, if you're
what
talking
I
about
expected.
dominance, then like we're lacking that. Like I'll admit that. There's
Yeah.
no question. Yeah.
So Morgan Riley was out tonight. He had dealing with a minor upper body injury. So our top line on defense was McCabe, Liljegren, and then Brody Labushkin, Benoit Timmins. What did you think of the back end tonight?
I mean, Liljegren and McCabe, I hate that pairing. I feel like we've seen it before and it's been awful before. They just don't seem to read each other properly. McCabe at certain points tonight thought he was a forward, and Liljegren just doesn't. I don't think like he doesn't gel well with a guy that's playing like that. So like I think the bigger thing was that Joel Edmondson was out tonight. Like that's a guy that has been like he gives me comfort being out there because he's at least if everyone else is doing something wrong, I can look for one guy that's going to do the right thing. And tonight I couldn't even find that, and when you're putting Timmins had a great game the other night, but you're putting him in the lineup tonight and not looking so hot, making some.
Benoit Timmins has just been a dumpster fire in the past too.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, Benoit, I was at least seeing some effort from him. He's trying hard. I could see like maybe Joel Edmondson's rubbing off on him in a little way because he's not just looking for the big hit. Like he's kind of grinding in corners and doing like the things that like he does sometimes, but like, it's his is more about the big impact and like big clears of the net. It's the little things that I think Joel Edmondson has brought that, I come to appreciate so much. So, but yeah, I throw out this lineup for defense wise. I mean, I think it sucks when you just scramble so many things when like nothing's really reliable for the D at the moment. Like they should have gone back to McCabe Benoit for the game because at least we knew that would be something successful and not lean on Liljegren when he's just been on like a good streak. And again, we're pushing him up the lineup where we're just forcing him to fail in a way. Like,
But yeah, it's we have three righties in right now though, right? So it's hard to put the two lefties together and then have the
oh yeah,
the
that's
third
actually
righty on the
true.
bottom. But so here's the Bartman's got a question. Who is Morgan's partner going into the playoffs? My answer, Ilya Labushkin is going to be the guy that they slot next to him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's been Riley's kind of difficult to find a D partner for, and the only thing that seems to work is just like a guy stay at home defenseman that is just going to basically defer to giving him the puck, and so that's what he does. So I think that he's maybe we would want it to be a little bit of a higher skill so they could be like a bona fide first pairing, but
I don't know, man. Labushkin made a sick pass tonight to Matthews on his goal.
oh,
What
did he ever? Yeah.
a pass. I don't know, man. Labushkin, it's we've talked about players time and time again that every pair that they're on is better, or guys that they're just a fixer, right? And like I'm not saying he's gonna go and fix things necessarily, but like Labushkin's a great compliment to a lot of type of players out there. He certainly likes playing on the Leafs. At least he plays very well. I've liked Ilya Labushkin's impact on the Leafs since he's arrived here.
Yeah, I have to for sure. I think it's just I wonder what the ceiling is when it comes to playoff hockey and who you're putting them out against. But I think that I love what he brings. Like I was I think in October asking them to trade for Ilya Labushkin. He's just like that.
I know, and I was like, "Oh no, don't do it!" And now look at me.
Yeah, things change, but
Things change.
yeah, I just like he's kind of the perfect guy for Riley, and they'll go with that. I couldn't imagine them going with any other situation. Even if Brody became like last year Brody, I'm not sure they're gonna like depend on that.
Did you see Brody got a point on that, secondary assist, and all he did was just like he kind of got into trouble, passed the puck to Labushkin, he fires up the ice to Matthews. Matthews does it himself. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah, Brody gets a point on that one. John's chiming in over here. Wool was terrible tonight, and the Bartman says, "Save us, Matt Murray." And I wanted to talk about that. So Nick Barden tweeted out today, Matt Murray will reportedly have a meeting with the surgeon who did the goaltender's bilateral hip surgery in about a week and a half's time to determine if he can be medically cleared to play this season.
That's interesting. I mean, that's just
this season.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's like, so you don't have to put Hildeby in if you end up not having the three goalies
worst
ahead.
Case scenario.
Yeah.
But if he's cleared to play, is that like, here, I will slide you this and you will clear him to play for April the 20th? That is the first day of the playoffs.
There seems to be
what if you have to activate his cap? That's not going to work.
We're so close to the end of the season. It's not going to be a problem. Like, we've seen that the NHL seems to be understanding that if a player is out long term, and they've been out for, almost a full season, and he has been, and that, like, if you get down to a week, they're not going to like cap crunch you. I think they'll just ignore it. It's just, they did it to,
I don't know if they're getting it, but I definitely know that there's ways around it because there's rules, and I don't think they're just going to ignore it. I don't know if they just like let shit fly. But I'm sure that it's easier to fit things in at the end of the year just by dropping it down, because you have so much cap space. And I think they do technically have cap space right now with Yarncroke on LTIR.
I'm not sure they have cap space for Murray, but I think that
4.6.
Even you do 4 games of a conditioning stint with the Marlies, and like that is a week there, and like you're now talking about like now it might be days. And I think that like that's not an issue, and especially I guess like the cap as well. Like they might not have the room at like the beginning of the year, but on how much cap room they've acquired throughout the year, like you're right, there might be some like extra cap around that, especially from Yarncroke being out. But I'm not too worried about it. I just think it's kind of funny that it's coming up, and I'm wondering what the other discussions around him are going to be. But to me, it just seems like such a clear picture that he's not going to be playing. And if he is, it's like, well, that's a desperate situation. And then maybe I'm extremely happy that he's around. But I don't see that ever playing out.
Well,
I sure
looks
hope
like he could be medically cleared. I don't know. I think it's going to be something fishy. He either won't be cleared, in my opinion, or he'll be cleared for the first game of the playoffs. But like, yeah, he can play in like exactly 3 weeks and 3 days, like whatever. It'll be something stupid. Right. But I think that's what's going to happen. So speaking of guys that are hurt, Marner's going to be back, right? And he's day-to-day. Sheldon Keefe is now taking him off the day-to-day to day-to-day. He's officially actually day-to-day.
Yeah, I love that. That was great.
So now we should expect him soon. I would think maybe not the Thursday game is what I heard on Kipper and Bourne, but probably the weekend. They never really said, like he just said, I don't expect Thursday. So I'm guessing that means the weekend. If not the weekend, then like early next week. Either way, that's like 2 games away maximum.
Oh, don't say that.
This Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi line is going to be allowed to stay together. And this is my whole point. Who is going to get kicked off of it?
Well, first of all, I wouldn't want to say maximum because as someone who plays fantasy hockey, I've seen a lot of injuries drag out. But I hope that it's just like, yeah, if we see him on the weekend, that would be awesome. I honestly hope that we don't see either of them come off the line. Honestly, I know that this is just like a 1% chance that this will happen, but just like I would like Marner to just go try and put him on his own line, see like how that works.
Okay, so you've got Bertuzzi, Matthews, Domi, McMahon, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes, Holmberg, Marner, Nyes, Camp, Marner. No, what do you do? Nyes, Holmberg,
I like Holmberg
Marner?
Better
As the center, Nyes, Holmberg, Marner. And then what are you going to have? Dewar, Camp, Robertson? Dewar, Camp.
Sure.
Who's going to be on the Yarncroke is going to be back, I guess. Where does Yarncroke slot in there eventually? This is it's a good problem to have, but you have a lot of guys that are playing well, and I don't know where to put them.
Yeah, I think like the big one to me is Bobby McMahon moving himself to the top 6 because like that's where like a top 6 guy is now playing in the bottom 6 that we were used to.
Do you think we're all going to just be disappointed and Sheldon Keefe is just going to kick him back down?
Oh
It's like,
my
yeah, no,
God.
that's who gets kicked. Bobby McMahon. It's like, even though he's been super impressive and doing everything and the fans love it and the team plays well and he does well, I'm just going to kick him back down to the bottom 6 because that's what I do.
I honestly
Yard
didn't
Croak's
even
back.
think about that. I didn't think about it once if Bobby McMahon would be the guy to be pushed down. I sure
I think he
hope
might
not.
be for the playoffs.
Yeah. I just
No
think
better
that like
matchups and
when you find a duo that works well, I think you just have to stick with it. And like I think that it's just been working way too well. And he's got a finishing shot. Like I feel like he's got the talent to be able to play up in the top 6 as long as it, in certain situations. He's not driving a line, that's for sure. But like I think he should be up there. So yeah, like I guess Sheldon Keefe sometimes just does the opposite of what I would like him to do. So I would
or
not be
what we think
surprised.
would make sense. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. That's just an NHL coach thing. Like, do you know the difference between you and I and an NHL coach? I mean, a
Knowing
regular hockey player
what to
and an
do.
NHL coach, say, sure, but they make up this crazy weird galaxy brain shit because I mean, like a lot of people who follow hockey as closely as a lot of us do, any fan watching this right now is a stupid hardcore hockey fan, right?
Yeah.
And you and I are stupid hardcore hockey fans. And so any of us would know the optimal line from watching and who's going to play well with who and whatever and whatever. But these guys, they just come up with this fucking Tinker Galaxy brain and think like, oh, well, let's just try this, something that nobody else thought of. And hopefully it works. And if it works, they look like a genius. And that's what makes them the NHL coach because they know better than the general public. And that's the whole thing. It's always just seems to be the way we think like, oh, Bobby McMahon makes so much sense in the top 6. Sheldon Keefe's like, well, actually.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I was just thinking there, the funny thing is how we went from just polar opposites to a coach that like would just not do absolutely anything, no matter how much that the fans would scream. And then we're now to a guy that we're just screaming for him to leave it alone. And
Yeah.
we just know he's going to tanker. Like that's his
Yeah.
favorite thing to do. So it's hilarious how he's gone just polar directions there.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So yeah, I want to talk tonight. Benoit. We were talking about him earlier. He's become a little bit of an agitator on top of being just physical. He's really pissing guys off. He made a massive hip check tonight.
Did he
Can't
ever?
remember
Yeah.
who it was. And then the guy punched him in the head because of it, and he drew a penalty. And I just like to sit here and say, as a Leafs fan, I enjoy that shit. I thoroughly enjoy that shit, and we need more of that on the Toronto Maple Leafs, not against the Toronto Maple Leafs, okay? When we're losing our cool and punching guys in the head. No. I like it. I love it so much. Simon Benoit was laughing all night, and I love that energy.
Yeah, I agree. There was another play too where like there was one of the Jersey guys was just like so annoyed at Benoit. He was trying to skate away, and Benoit's just like reaching around anyone he can to try and just grab the guy's shirt, just do whatever he can to like just get him that little bit more agitated. So yeah, I do think I see the same things that you do. I mean, the Leafs are kind of becoming full of these guys, which just like I'm turning back into a like hardcore, like I actually love this team fan where like, cause you know, it might not be the star players,
6 is, yeah.
but like there's guys in this lineup who give a shit. And like it starts with guys like Domi and Bertuzzi up in the lineup, but like, you know, when you're looking down in the bottom 6 in the defense, it's like a whole new ball
The
game.
defense, man. Like we've
Yeah.
we've had a couple of gritty forwards in like the Matthews era. You know, even a couple of guys who could hold their own.
One
Strong
doesn't
guys.
count.
It's been the defense that's always been so soft, and now it's like Morgan Riley, Plummer, Butcher, like fantastic. Like that's exactly what we need down there. And you know, I know I'm on the exact same page. I'm falling for this team all over again.
And like it's funny that last time we brought Ilya Lyubushkin here, like he was by far the toughest guy. And like that's all anyone talked about is like look at the hits this guy's throwing. Like look at like he actually will clear the front of a net. And now he comes here and like yeah, I don't think he's like the 3rd or 4th toughest guy on this team. You know, and that doesn't say I'm not saying anything negative about Lyubushkin. It's just the team that he's come into. Or I guess like he got here before Joel Edmondson, but you know, like Joel Edmondson jumps him in the list. And Yeah, it's just a different group than we've seen in previous years. And I was kind of in this decline of just like, I hate that this team doesn't care that about winning. You know, like I see that they're crying after they
don't
get out
hate
of the
to
playoffs.
lose.
Yeah, but they don't hate to lose, you know, and it's perfect. And that tells me a lot. And like I want to cheer for a team that wants to be winning too. And that's the main reason I've cheered for Domi all this time, even though he
You should
hasn't
check
been
out the
playing great.
Avs sometime.
No, I won't watch that garbage.
A team who wants to win. Yeah. How about this really good team?
Yeah,
I know.
fair
There's
enough.
no problems over there, and I'm just like feeling good about myself. It's like watching Ted Lasso. It's like I just want like no problems. I just want a good time. I'm gonna go watch the Avalanche. You want drama?
Yeah.
Come over to the Leafs.
I try that with the Canucks, and then still sometimes they let me down.
Ooh, it's dramatic over there.
It's
very,
dramatic.
Very dramatic over in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a break.
I wanted to mention Pontus Holmberg as well. Now, he was very close to crossing the edge. He may have crossed the edge and not noticed tonight, which it happened a couple times. Linesmen and referees, the Leafs definitely had too many men on the ice at one point, and Pontus Holmberg definitely spun Jack Hughes and threw him to the ground. And he got away
Both
with
those
that.
things are true.
But I like that from Pontus Holmberg. And like he had just tangled up with Luke Hughes chasing a puck back, comes forward, grabs Jack Hughes and throws him to the ground. I mean, he got away with it. So we're talking about like jerks. Like I like that from Pontus Holmberg. And the fact that he didn't take a penalty, I wonder if that says anything about his name now in the league. Like he's played quite a few games. He's not he may be still considered a rookie even. I'm not quite sure, but
Probably.
he's been around. Like the refs know him, and they're not like he's not necessarily that kind of guy. We don't have to watch him. It's not like a new person to watch. And maybe he's gonna get away with some shit. Maybe he'll be the guy for us that just gets under the radar and gets away with a bunch of shit like that. And like I said, we need more of that on the Leafs.
You know, timing's everything, and timing was perfect for Holmberg because the trip, like they're on the penalty kill, and so like you have to almost commit murder to get a 5-on-3, and like it was close, but like just not quite enough. And then the too many men, like Jersey had just basically done the same thing like 2 shifts before, and so I think like the refs and linesmen knew that they missed one on Jersey, and so it was like, okay, we'll give them the Leafs one here. And so like, yeah, timing's everything. He could have taken 2 penalties tonight for sure. But yeah, that's just,
we would have been sitting here cursing him for it, but since he didn't,
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's also like how many times in hockey is a penalty, like, is there an infraction that's not called? Like you could go around and say like a bunch of them that, you know, that aren't being called. It's hard to really, you know, it's hard for me to celebrate a guy for not being called for a penalty because I'm not even sure what the rules are for penalties. So like, I'm pretty sure that was one, but it's funny. Like I just can't wait for there to be no penalties. I hate penalties. I hate power play and penalty kill. I think like probably because the Leafs suffer on both so much during the playoffs is why I like when the whistle goes away. But it's also just a more entertaining game for me. So yeah, I can't wait for there to be absolutely nothing called except for blatant trips.
Yeah, I know. And, you know, the occasional cross check to the head, which, you know, is going to happen, or like some crazy boarding penalty by Kyle Clifford.
Who's going to be the guy suspended this year? That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to be the first guy suspended in the first round for the Leafs, huh?
Yeah.
We should make bets on that.
Yeah,
Who do you think it'll be?
I don't know. I'm just
It
trying
could be Reeves, but I think he's too smart.
No, yeah, he's a smart guy, tough guy. He like a lot of the time I think that he should take a hit, and he's like, you know, he errs
He's
on
like,
the
"No,
side of caution. Yeah,
wait,
I'm not taking a
wait
penalty.
for it.
Yeah. Who is it? I don't know. Like my gut feeling just goes to Domi, unfortunately.
Ooh, that's gonna hurt.
Emotions just get involved. But other than that, like no one really has like a really like fuse. Like maybe Labushkin, maybe he has a temper that we just don't know about.
Jake McCabe.
Oh, you
That's
it.
the guy right there. Jake McCabe is where my money goes for the suspension in the first round this year. Yeah, although he was pretty good. He wasn't good last year in the first round, and I mean he was decent. He was shaky from my memory. That was his first playoffs ever. But they did win the round in the end. But, I think now with his comfortability and like him coming in and just cross checking, I don't even remember. It was like DeBrusque and then Marchand both in the head, like back to back, just like, here, eat it. It's like 30 seconds into the game. You've done absolutely nothing. Good morning. Have breakfast.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe he's a
so-
guy though that knows the right way to do it and when to do it. So let's hope for that. But yeah, I had one more player to bring up for tonight. Do you have anything else?
all right. No, that's it for me.
Nick Robertson is actually back checking and actually making smart decisions for like the first time ever.
You're finally on the Nick Robertson train.
Well, like he only started doing it tonight. So like
Just
calm
tonight.
down.
There you go.
Yeah. Like literally. I was just like, is that Nick Robertson? Like, no way. And actually it's like he's picked up something from Matthews, because the way that Matthews will lean on a guy to not let him get away, and while he can do a can opener stick check, like it was exactly what Robertson was doing tonight. He did it twice, like in the second period, I think it was. And I was pretty impressed. He also just like, he was eager to get a goal. Like that guy's got a cannon of a shot. So I mean,
so good. I really want him to work out just because he's got such a good shot. He's got a game-changing shot. In a tie game in the playoffs, when it comes down to one shot in overtime, he could definitely be a guy that wires one in just because of that missile that comes off the end of his stick.
the only problem is I still wouldn't put him in the lineup for game one. So, like
Maybe not game
he's on
one,
the
but
right track.
It might be round 2, game 4, and you might need it to have a chance to keep going. And he wires it in and gives you a chance, and you guys end up getting through the round or whatever. But I just think with that shot, he's lethal, and he's essential to keep in this lineup at some point in the playoffs. If it's not game 1. Like, I don't even know what game 1's going to look like this year. Like, the last couple of years, like, do you remember it's like 2 years ago against Tampa, I think? It's going to be violent. Like, we had one game, Kyle Clifford gets suspended, and then all of a sudden it's just like soft as baby shit for the rest of the series, and they lose. So I don't really know about that.
Yeah, the thing, I think Robertson, like, if Yarncroke is back, then I don't see how he possibly gets in the lineup. If Yarncroke isn't back, then I guess there's an opportunity possibly for him to have a spot. But again, we're having the same, I'm saying the same thing, where I'm just not eager to put him on a fourth line. So I guess that's where it kind of stops with me.
I think we're going to be shocked at what this team actually looks like for game 1 of this.
You think it's 11-7?
Oh, don't even do that. Yeah,
No,
it probably will be. Yeah, no, man, you're not even wrong. It'll probably be 11-7.
Yeah,
like, fuck me. Yeah,
because
you're not wrong.
Keefe doesn't even play the fourth line in the playoffs. Like, he plays them for like 3 minutes. So
yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked. I wasn't the one that came up with the idea. I heard someone say it today, and I was just like, you know what? I feel like that is what it's going to be. So.
Yep, and we got a whole shit ton of defensemen again, just like last year, and they're running 11-7 last year. Damn, I think you're right. And I think it worked for them a couple times last year too, didn't it? Which is even worse.
Work,
yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
I hate 11-7. Anyways,
I half hate it. Just like, I do like having the extra body on defense, but you're just like, every pairing seems to be different when it comes out on the ice. So like, I don't like that part of it, but
yeah, I know, and that's no chemistry, and you're just constantly switching. You don't know where guys are going to be. You're kind of, you have to think more. Who am I on with? Where does he like to play?
I think the forwards are better because like you're putting higher skill players in the lineup in like 3 minutes of the game, where like, instead of Reeves, you have Marner. Like obviously that's better. It's just like you got to worry about like if you get to the second series and things like that, like you're wearing down your forwards too. But
you're fucking the chemistry up on the team, like I just said. Like if you could see that it was a struggle to find, Matthews somebody to play with, and then even the first couple of games with Domi, he didn't look great, but he's looked really, really good now, and they found some chemistry, and it takes time, right? And now like they switched that off, and he's used to Marner, and then like it, and I think it's more of a Domi is now going to be playing with a different person. And that's going to fuck his chemistry because he's used to Matthews being here. Well, this guy's not here. So now he's trying to create plays that other guys aren't going to be able to make. And he's in a totally different mindset. And it's just like you think differently playing with different types of players and different guys, right? Like you don't always play the same game when you go out there. You're playing to your line, like who you're with.
I think it's only the fourth line though. Like, who really cares? Because like your top three lines just say the exact same, and just you just pick a random dude to go out on the fourth line shift. So like, I'm not saying that you like keep rotating everyone through and stuff. I just mean like,
Yeah, no, I know that's not what you're saying, but that's what Keefe does.
okay, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
So sorry, I thought we were talking about real life, and
Right, yeah.
And if this is how it's gonna happen, then he's just gonna fucking blender it all game, and I hate that. I hate it.
I mean, to be fair, he's probably going to blender the hell out of it anyway. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. Hopefully they just go up big, and he doesn't. He just sticks to the lines because it works out. Although, you know what? They're gonna go up 2-0. This is my prediction. They'll go up 2-0 in the first round. Then he's gonna change the lines. He's gonna change the lines to go home. They come home and there'll be like a new defenseman in, and then everything's just gonna. Fuck me! I've watched this team for too long. Anyways, we got the Capitals Thursday. Is Ovi gonna score, CP?
I mean, probably, but I hope not. But probably.
You think Sammy's back for that game? You think we see Martin Jones?
I'm gonna say we see Jones. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. That's a good point. But I think that Sammy will, if like he had to play, I think that he would be ready to. But they're probably gonna rest him for at least another one. So maybe even two. I want to make sure that he's fine.
Yeah, I think so. You take your time.
Yeah.
Just gonna hit the Bartman leaving us some more comments. I'd like to see Marner play with his old junior buddy Domi. I like that too. The problem is they are so similar. But I in theory say that it should work and that Domi could hit the left and Marner could hit the right and they could just both hit Matthews and goals. How do you like it? And then a second question here is Revo in the lineup for game 1?
And game 1, I would say if we're doing 12 forwards, then I think they do put them in. If we're doing the 11 and 7 thing that they're probably end up doing, I'm going to say no. But they could do 11 and 7. Like I predict they do that in the first round for sure. Game 1 though. Yeah. Game 1 though, I could see them going with Reeves because like they've always like Sheldon Keefe's always, he's put, the Clifford experiment. Simmons was always in there. So I think
but has he not learned?
No, like we do the same thing every year, buddy.
That's true.
The only thing that changes is because we got a new GM and now we have different players.
No, you're right. Yeah, it just feels different. It's all the same shit. It's all the same
coach. Yeah.
Same shit. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back Thursday. That's a wrap for Split the Defense Leafs post game. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for commenting. Hit that like button. Subscribe on our YouTube. Please rate and review the show. Find us on X at STDP Hockey and search for Split the Defense on all of their socials. Until next time, peace.
Peace.
Thanks for tuning in to Split the Defense.
Split the Defense.
Leafs Postgame Edition. Hosted by Jordan Webster, Craig Pearce, and producer Ted Evans. Split the Defense is presented by LaForest Electrical Contractors. Professional and efficient service since 2004. Serving the Kingston and surrounding areas.